Me now to debate the merits of this proposal on banning weapons and shotguns and pistols from the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, and former Congressman, now a Fox News contributor, Dennis Kucinich. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program.
Hi, Sean. Thank you.
Hi, Sean.
All right, Dennis, a particular welcome to you. We disagree on issues. You're a pretty honest guy, though. Politician gives his word. I'm sure you believe that they should follow through on it. So Barack Obama said he's never going to go after our guns. That's what he said. He made that promise. Why would he do that now? Because that's what he's doing.
Well, he can't get rid of everyone's guns because the Supreme Court case, D.C. versus Heller, established the right to bear arms as an individual right. So that's a given.
But now, he's trying. The point is he's trying to.
But the Constitution protects the right to bear arms. What this law is trying to do, and it recognizes the Constitution, because what does it do? It exempts about 2,250 different kinds of guns. But clearly it's going after assault weapons. And I mean, I understand that. But there's one point I want to make before we start the debate, and that is this. Here's what I don't understand. The people are weaponizing themselves historically because historically, you go back to the beginning of the Constitution, it was to protect themselves against a tyrannical government. So now, with government getting ever more powerful, people weaponize themselves. But what's happening at the same time? More of our tax dollars is going to helping to make the government even more powerful. Somebody has to puzzle that out for me.
Beam me up, Scotty. Jay, Dennis Kucinich is the first liberal that seems to actually have an understanding of the Second Amendment.
Well, and the congressman, to his credit, said it correctly. The Supreme Court has recognized that the Second Amendment's right to bear arms is an individual right. But, Sean, when you look at legislation as a lawyer, and the congressman, of course, knows this in his years of service in the Congress, you have to say, what's the aim of the legislation here? And the problem with Senator Feinstein's bill is not only is it broader than the 1994 provision, the assault weapons ban, but they call it an assault weapons ban, but that's not what it is. It goes much further. It would be unconstitutional. If this legislation became law, the Supreme Court would strike it down as unconstitutional. But, Sean, there's another thing here that we have to be really, really concerned with, and that is the political move of what's happening. Do you remember right after the tragedies that took place at Sandy Hook Elementary School? The president was asked, and others were asked questions about, how about having police officers on these elementary school campuses? And the answer was, well, we don't need more guns in school. Well, the answer, though, is really the exact opposite of that. What the NRA and others have said is the answer. Security personnel in elementary schools and other events, and you have that, by the way, at sporting events. You have armed security. You have it on college campuses. It's focusing on the wrong issue. This FBI said that the assault weapon ban of 1994 did nothing to lower crime. And does anybody that's watching this broadcast now think that a sign posted that said, do not carry your weapon in this area is going to prevent what happened in Sandy Hook? Or do we have to modify the HIPAA laws so that medical professionals, when they find out there's a problem, can take action?
Well, let me go to Dennis.
Actually, if I could answer that, the weapon that was used, one of the weapons used at Sandy Hook was the Bushmaster AR-15. Now, that used to be, before the patent on the M16 expired, that was an M16. So now it was made for domestic purposes by several manufacturers.
It's a semi-automatic,
but it can fire 45 shots in a minute, but just by squeezing the trigger. So, this is the problem. It's too easy to kill a lot of people at one time with these. I own an AR-15. I know a lot about guns. Let me just throw three things at you, Dennis Kucinich, if I can. I was glad to hear you actually have a fundamental understanding of the Second Amendment, more so than anybody else on your side so far that I've heard. Look, I'm willing to have an honest discussion. I've been a marksman since I'm 11, 12 years old, so I understand more than anything else gun safety. My guns are locked up. You can't get to them. We should have responsible gun ownership in this country. But if we're going to talk about guns, don't we really, and we want to stop Sandy Hooks, don't we have to deal with mental health? Don't we have to deal with parenting, values? These guns don't fire themselves, Congressman. Thank you. I mean, if I was in Congress, this assault weapons ban is something I'd give careful consideration to. But I want to say something, Sean. What you just said, fundamentally right. This is a broad issue that touches all of American society. We have, unfortunately, a violent society. Guns make it very easy for people to act out on their aggression. But the truth is that the mental health problems in our society have not received enough attention. You do when there's violence, it gets the attention, but we weren't able to get mental health parity in a lot of health care legislation. You know, I know individual family members who have struggled with problems.
You can't even lock up mentally ill people.
But,
you can't do it.
Well,
but Sean, here's the issue.
We need a society that cares for people.
All right, Jay,
doesn't throw them away.
Jay,
yeah,
real quick,
the Clinton-era HIPAA laws, the HIPAA laws, the privacy laws are part of the problem here. And the president thinks by the wave of a hand he can undo those, and he can't. The problem here is you need a fundamental review of the mental health laws so you can prevent Sandy Hook, so that medical professionals are not afraid to notify authorities. And I would hope and the congressman said he understands that, and that's good news. In that sense, I wish Dennis Kucinich was still back in Congress if he'd vote that way. Right. Because I don't know if that will be changed in Congress. But, Sean, at the end of the day, if that is not addressed, all of this is meaningless. That has to be addressed. Right. Mental health professionals have to be able to notify authorities
privacy issues that you have to be careful of. But at the same time, we have to recognize, as you pointed out, Sean, this is a broad issue. How do we make this a less violent society? That ought to be the discussion. So, it's not only, you know, this isn't only about guns. You can pass all the gun legislation you want. You're still going to have some underlying issues of violence in the society.
Congressman, welcome to the network.
Sean.
Jay, always good to see you.
Thank you very much.